Have you ever felt like you live in a crowded house, even when you're completely alone? Like your mind is this huge, old, echoing mansion filled with strange tenants. They never pay rent, and they definitely don't knock before barging in. That's exactly how Avery felt. Avery's mind was home to some very loud characters. Anxiety was the loudest, a frantic, wiry creature with way too many hands, always tugging at Avery's sleeve whenever they tried something new. What if you fail? It would chatter. What if everyone laughs? Then there was depression, a heavy, slow-moving shadow. It often curled up in Avery's favorite chair, whispering that resting forever was so much easier than trying. It would say things like, "Why bother? It won't make a difference anyway." Its voice was quiet, but carried a weight that could anchor Avery to the spot for days. Doubt was small, but incredibly persistent. It was like a little mouse, scurrying around in the dark, chewing holes in the fabric of Avery's confidence. Every time Avery built something up, doubt would be there, nibbling at the foundations until it felt like the whole thing could collapse. And hope was there too. It was bright, quick, and fragile, like a little bird with shimmering wings. But in the clutter and noise of the mansion, hope was often hard to find. It would get lost in the shadows, its faint light drowned out by the chaos. For years, Avery tried to fight them. They would chase these monsters through the long, winding halls of their mind. They'd barricade doors, trying to lock anxiety out. They'd shout over depression's heavy sighs, trying to ignore its pull. But every single battle left them more exhausted than before. The more they fought, the stronger the monsters seemed to get, and the more tired Avery became. The mansion grew darker, dustier, and the echoes of their struggles filled every room. One day, after a particularly overwhelming storm of noise inside their head, Avery just couldn't do it anymore. The shouting, the running, the constant vigilance, it was too much. They collapsed in the middle of the mansion's great hall, surrounded by the mess of their internal battles. And in a quiet, trembling voice, Avery whispered to the chaos, "I can't keep fighting you." For the first time ever, the monsters paused. They looked surprised, almost confused. Anxiety stopped its frantic pacing. Depression lifted its shadowy head. Even doubt peeked out from behind a pillar, its tiny eyes filled with curiosity. This was new. Avery wasn't pushing them away. They weren't trying to banish them. Instead, with a deep breath, Avery invited them to sit. Anxiety perched nervously on the edge of a broken staircase, its many hands wringing each other. Depression settled onto the floor with a long, weary sigh, the kind that had filled the house for years. Doubt stayed hidden, but kept peeking out, listening intently. Avery looked at each of them, these strange tenants of their mind, and with a newfound sense of clarity, they said, "You can stay, but you don't get to run the house anymore." In that single moment, something shifted. It wasn't magic. It wasn't some instant cure that made everything perfect, but it was a quiet understanding, a truce. Anxiety's hands still trembled, but for the first time, it listened instead of just shouting. Depression's shadows still lingered in the corners, but it no longer covered everything in sight. The light could get through. Doubt still scurried about. But now, instead of blindly believing its whispers, Avery learned to question them, to check its claims. Is that really true? They'd ask, and hope finally stepped out from its hiding place. It glowed like sunlight streaming through dusty old windows, its light no longer drowned out by the others. It was still fragile, but it was present. The air in the mansion felt a little lighter, a little clearer. Over time, Avery started to renovate their inner mansion. This wasn't about evicting the tenants, it was about changing their roles. They gave anxiety a new job. Instead of being a jailer that locked Avery in place with fear, it became a lookout. It could point out potential risks, but it no longer held the keys to the cell. Its frantic energy was channeled into preparation, not panic. They let depression have a guest room. It could rest there, and Avery would visit, acknowledging its presence without letting it take over the entire house. They learned that it was okay to feel that heaviness sometimes, as long as it didn't become the center of their world. Most importantly, Avery built boundaries. They installed doors that could open and close. This meant the monsters could exist, but they couldn't just barge in and take over whenever they wanted. Avery was in control of who came into the main living space and when. They learned to say, "Not right now. I need some peace." And the monsters, surprisingly, began to respect that. And as for Hope, Avery gave it more and more room to grow. They cleaned the windows to let in more light. They let Hope decorate the halls, paint the walls with bright colors, and invite new, joyful guests into the mansion. Guests like creativity, laughter, and peace. The more space Hope had, the stronger it became, and its warm glow started to fill every corner of the house. Avery never banished the monsters. They're still there, in the echoing halls of that old mansion. But Avery learned to understand them, to live with them, and to guide them instead of being guided by them. They learned that anxiety was just a misguided attempt to keep them safe. Depression was a signal that they needed rest and deep care. Doubt was a reminder to think things through. And in that strange, beautiful coexistence, the mansion inside Avery's mind didn't feel frightening anymore. It felt familiar. It was imperfect, still echoing with old memories, but it was alive. It was entirely, beautifully, their own home. If this story resonates with you, know that you're not alone in feeling like you have a crowded house in your mind. Learning to be the landlord of your own mind rather than a victim of its tenants is a powerful journey. It's not about fighting a war. It's about finding a way to coexist peacefully. Remember, if the tenants in your mind are becoming too overwhelming, it's always okay to ask for help. Professional therapists and counselors are like expert architects who can help you renovate your inner space. They can give you the tools to build those boundaries and make your mind a more comfortable place to live. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story helpful, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content on navigating our inner worlds. Take care and be kind to yourself and all the tenants within.